Oh, good day, everyone. Welcome to Alchemy Within from Out Amongst the Stars. And I am here today just before the new moon in Cancer to talk about all our emotions. Oh my goodness, the emotions. So I just wanted to first of all say welcome. Thank you all. If you so choose to participate in getting a free reading, you can do so by subscribing and making a comment, starting with I'm grateful for. And I appreciate if you hit the like button as well to help me build this channel that I've been starting to build on. It's a work in progress, of course, but I want to be here. I am an emotional empowerment coach, as well as I have also studied a lot of the astrology for several years now. So I really like to bring all of the elements together to help everyone sort of navigate through. So I prefer to work with you one-on-one, bring in your own astrology as opposed to doing the real main predictions. But it's good to know, like for each of the 12 signs, I'd like to look at specifically what you're dealing with and support you any way I can. So if you choose to, you can go check out outamongstthestars.com and see what my offerings are, and you can email me at dianaburke@gmail.com, and yeah, we can go from there. But in the meantime, we have a really significant new moon, and of course it's really in my wheelhouse of dealing with the emotions that people have to navigate through in life, and we all have them. We all have different phases, and right now is just an incredibly wild time, really, to be in this world of all the interesting change and dynamics and transformations that we are all going through. There is a very significant thing happening right now with Pluto, which of course has the of change and transformation and death and rebirth. And in the general forecast, it's making a huge shift right from our Capricorn energy, which is all of those structures and systems and all the big corporate and big business and big government programs and all of the things that we have to work in our society to help things kind of move along and keep some sort of structure in place. But there's something that is not working. There's some things that need to be revealed. There's a lot of stuff that has to be changed. And so we are kind of going more from that top down structure system to a more grassroots up. People want to get back to nature. In the astrology, of course, there's huge significance around the elements of nature, our water and fire and air and earth, and each of us express ourselves in usually in more of certain elements than others. That's significant in our chart, and the way we do deal with things emotionally comes through in that way. So we might have a very water influenced person who just wants to cry all the time and needs to cry in order to release, and that's okay if you can. But other people, they have a lot of fire, and then they want to have more need to move that energy in a more physical way, or they might want to get combative or in a conflict or controversy or on the fight type of thing. And so yeah, we have all kinds of different ways. As I'm very dominant in air, and I just want to basically learn and talk my way through all kinds of things. And if somebody has an issue, I want to solve it in my head, where sometimes they need more they might need more of the physical touch. But that's what I I use that part of myself for, helping support you, because I like to communicate. That's kind of my forte, is to work through stuff and communicate with people and connect with people. So getting to this new moon in Cancer tomorrow, 24 degrees and 56 minutes on. So that's the 17th of July. For this time zone, Mountain Standard Time, it's just afternoon at 12:30. And this is following the full moon in Capricorn 2 weeks ago, which I really wanted to do a video for. And again, like the emotions were just so strong. I have a really, really strong opposition to Pluto happening in my own chart with Venus, and that is bringing up a lot of things for me as well. So it's not just the mundane sort of overarching energies that are, affecting all of us. So that's why it's really good to look at your own chart and then learn how to navigate through those. So I just needed to go within, because of course for me that is that Pluto moving back into Capricorn, which it did here in June, after it dipped into our new 20-year cycle of it in Aquarius, where we're going to do things a whole pile different. It's in my 12th house in Capricorn. So that makes for me wanting to, really work on a lot of things behind the scenes, rather than being out in the open. When it was in Aquarius, it was a lot easier. So I'm looking forward to the shift back, which will happen in January 2024. But Pluto is very much involved in this new moon, which is happening right now. And it wasn't as close in degree as it was when we were in the full moon with the Capricorn Cancer opposition, as it is in this new moon, because as you can see right here, this is 24 degrees, this new moon. The new moon is when the sun and the moon are together, and that's in Cancer. Cancer, of course, is that sign that's, all about home and family and nurturing and all the emotions that are involved in helping us feel safe, right? And so it is opposing within, pretty close degree at 29 degrees, which is an anaretic degree. In Capricorn, that opposition right here, this big red line, is going to want us to, we're going to feel a little push and pull. We're going to have to integrate those, this transformation that's happening in that house of Capricorn, between our, home and family, and where we feel safe and where our tribe is. So there's a lot of things that might be coming up for you. And I really urge you, whether it's me or anyone else, to get some emotional support if you need it, because there's a lot of energy with that. That's a very strong and powerful energy, the Pluto, and that opposition will feel very, like that tense push and pull that it does need to be integrated in some form. So we're really working with our inner world. And I mean, with what we had to release with that full moon in Capricorn 2 weeks ago, which was, basically about like what does need to go in order to engage into this new life where we do feel secure and safe, and who's our people, and where's our stability, and where's, what emotional barriers are coming up, where's all the past memories. Like Cancer's about nostalgia and about the past, and there could be a lot of surfacing emotions from our past even coming up that actually are part of us that may have been formed to feel that safety, to feel, kind of goes back to some of the psychology where we store certain traumas and events in our body at times from our past to help us navigate through this crazy world and feel safe, and where those things no longer serving us, right? You can do a lot of things to shift and move those feelings of not being safe or being triggered emotionally that just no longer work in this particular world or in your own world of all the relationships and different dynamics that are happening. So it's kind of learning to go within and work on those inner emotions and find ways to release them. And, you know, I do kind of different interventions that help with that. And by interventions, I mean more exercises and, you know, things that you can work through to actually work through and release those emotions. And there's also a lot of different things you can do, such as the, you know, tapping or EMDR, or things that, you know, that are more somatic, moving it out of your body. So with the outer world that we were, you know, experiencing here in this Pluto, with a lot of the, you know, where you want to be, where's your success, where do you feel self-mastery, right? Where is your outer world legacy and the things that you kind of, how you want to be seen and in your best self, and that Capricorn, I am, you know, the CEO of my life kind of thing. Where is that needing to get balanced by whatever is happening within you, and what are you passionate about doing, right? You know, Pluto is very passionate, and the, you know, Cancer, Sun and Moon here together are asking you, like, where are you emotionally wanting to connect with something and it actually feel right to bring out into the outer world? And where can you plant some seeds for a new fresh start? And what areas of your life with this moon cycle do you want to have some radical change and transformation? And, you know, that's going to be happening for many of us on a really profound level. So we did need to kind of integrate this from that full moon in Capricorn. And now, you know, that was illuminating a lot of things. And now this is going to be about going within in this opposition and in that dark moon. And you can set your intentions. So you have, like, you know, like that 3-day period, you know, right at the new moon. And then within that 3-day period, writing your intentions of what you want to bring. Like, how are you going to empower yourself to do the things you want to do? And how are you going to shift and change? And then helping yourself integrate that by using your own inner mother to make you feel safe, and find the tribes of people that you want to spend this next, you know, 20 years with, in those little communities. That big picture of the Aquarius, the Pluto in Aquarius. So, you know, what do you want to do for your community as an individual in your own sort of unique way? And you know, to help basically grow the you know, the little area that you're in, to make it a better place to live, to participate and be part of a communal sort of tribe, or a little, you know, just area community, to make it better for all those around you too, right? And so finding that inner mother to nurture, care, be more sensitive, and also overcome any places where you didn't get that, you know, in your previous past life. What's been triggering you from, you know, childhood that maybe was missing. And that's all part of our life lessons. That's not something that we need to hang on to. We're supposed to have had those experiences so that we grow and evolve as a human, as a species, right? And so those events and traumas, and I'm not trying to negate anything really awful and horrible that it might have happened to people, but I am saying that there are sometimes things that we hang on to that have had their time and place, have helped us get through stuff where we, you know, felt safe, we had to protect ourselves, but are really not serving us in the higher, bigger picture anymore. So going, since I didn't do a specific video, I'm going to go back a little bit to this full moon in Capricorn that we experienced. So we, of course, had the also the week of June 26th, we had the different, you know, things play out, and we had the new moon in Gemini. So that also happened back here, where we had that. And so we worked through what was coming up for that. And then as we moved past that one, where we were able to sort of connect with that, dreamy kind of Neptunian energy that was affecting that. And we had the Mercury involved with that as well. Then we moved on into this week of July 10th to the 18th. And that was where Mars, we had some sign changes. Mars entered the sign of Virgo. So, that's going to want us to do a lot of the details, but can also bring up, places where you want to be more practical and methodical and be of service, but can be also, critical and maybe you brought in some new health routines as well. And then we had the Mercury enter the sign of Leo. So that was quite a shift, and that helped bring some fire, I know, into my Mercury. The Mercury in water wasn't helping me in the communication, opposing my Pluto at all. So that helped bring a lot of the lighter communication energy back into things again. And where were you feeling a little, more fired up and being able to, express yourself in, a more courageous way, confident way, because that's the Leo, right? The courageous and bold and confident one. So as we approach that full moon, which was on July 3rd in Capricorn at 11 degrees, it wasn't really as close, because as you see here, we have the sun in Cancer opposing the moon in Capricorn. So that's what makes it the full moon. It's opposing. And it wasn't really in a close degree with Pluto. However, it was still in the sign of Capricorn. And, even though it was quite a ways from Pluto, the Pluto energy was still there. It's still there in Capricorn. So I feel like, there probably was still that presence of that energy there, even though it wasn't in the close degree. And I guess it's like what was being illuminated that you need to seek balance in, because you have that opposition. And what was happening, this was like, okay, so in my lifetime, I want to be the best at this, and I'm going to bring in my own self mastery and discipline. And where were you like, even at times overworking and pushing yourself to be the best self and not looking after yourself and bringing in that self-care. And so there may have been some push-pull that you were experiencing through that full moon, where you're like, oh my gosh, I've been working and not looking after myself. Or where do you need to bring, more of your best self out into the world? Like, what legacy are you going to leave, and where are you going to find your own sense of, mastery, I guess, in a sense of and where are you going to bring in a little more discipline so that you feel like you're contributing in the way that you want, and also at the same time balancing out spending that time with your family and feeling very nurtured in your home space, and bringing in that emotional part of things, where it's not just like all work and no play or no self-care type energy, right? So you have to hopefully had spent some time since the beginning of July really reevaluating that and reassessing and having some reflective time as to where that was in this last couple of weeks. And now as we go into this dark moon, you can spend some time within and write some new intentions and make some new plans for whatever it is. What's the bigger picture? What do you want to achieve? And sort of set the intentions for yourself with that. And if you had a to-do list that you created in that Capricorn way, then share what you're striving for and write that out in your new moon intentions here coming up. I know there was also the full moon was, as you can see here, it had this square to Chiron, so it could have felt really extremely emotional. I know for me it really did, because of course we're going to have the nodes. So the nodes are still in Taurus, but they're going to shift into here. And I have, my own Chiron is in this house. So I know I need to make a lot of shifts, and it does involve, helping and teaching and sharing all the things I learned out in the world. And, my Capricorn happens to be in the hidden world, but it's also the spiritual world. So there's that involvement. But my day-to-day life is in Mars, and, you have a Mars, in Cancer, and I have my Mars in Cancer. So, that I have to feel it. Like I have to feel it in order to put it out there, right? It just doesn't want to flow if I'm not feeling it. And so when I was dealing with this square to Chiron and kind of just working through all of the past wounding and things like that, it was harder to communicate that with that sort of moon happening in the Pluto in the Capricorn house. And so for me, that's how it manifested. And if you want to look closer at your chart, we can do that to see how it manifested for you. But it was really important over this last couple of weeks. And you still can sort of look at, where was the what's this Capricorn energy asking you to do? Like, what house is it in for you? And where is it that you might need to make some transformation and change with that Pluto dip back in there for this next few months and clean things up from the old ways? What do you need to release? What was feeling heavy and burdensome? What are you learning? What do you want to build? What do you want to build in that, Capricornian way? And, what do you kind of want to be known for? What have you been trying to achieve? And I mean, it might not, like, it doesn't have to be something, huge in this world, right? But we definitely have some other influences that we're bringing in some constraint with the Saturn in there as well. So here's our Saturn, and it was, in trine to it, but still, it still brings up some ways that, we need to kind of bring some, more of the reality and the timeline and the limitation, or where there might be some fears or boundaries or from that Saturn into, this, trining the sun and sextiling the moon, which, like I said, they're easy flowing energies, but there was still this opposition going on, right? So where you might have felt like you needed to break free from the box you may have had yourself in, and where you're trying not to feel the emotions, or you're running from it, or you just kind of keep trying to push through and you're not allowing yourself to sit and process. There's the mind wants, with the sun, Mercury, wanting to process, on a mental level to what you were going through. And then we had this nice little sextile to Jupiter as well, which is nice, good energy again to help shift that belief, value systems in the sign of Taurus. And also what might you be with the Pluto energy there possessing about? What are what areas might you be obsessing over, and what might be being sacrificed in order to get that goal that you're chasing after? So there's just was a lot of push and pull between those, and kind of what has been wearing you down, or where you need to really reevaluate things, and what you are focused on in this lifetime, and how you can bring balance into the big picture. And where do you feel at home as you're going to move into this new energy of when this Pluto shifts in January into Aquarius for the next 20 years, wherever your Aquarius house is. For me, it's my first house. It's myself, my body, me, myself. Is it for you? Is it in family? Is it in the 10th house of career? You might want to look at that a little bit closer. And So as well, because it was also in trine to Neptune, we definitely may have had some, downloads or things kind of come in. And with Mercury too opposing the moon, it also and Juno there. Juno's about partnering. Who do you want to partner with? It's also can be intimate relationships, and we're going to, with the Leo retrograde coming up, it was definitely looking at that. So this Capricorn full moon that we had on July 3rd was definitely probably, I felt it big time, hence why I'm just reviewing it now before we go into the new moon. If you're feeling like you need any kind of emotional support, again, please, reach out to me at my email, or you can go onto the website and find out a little more information, and we can connect in some way or another. We can send me a message or whatever, and we'll try to work things through for you too. There's a lot of things with the Cancer that could even, bring up a lot of the mother things to do with our mother and our female connections too. So we definitely now going into this new moon, which of course has the 24-degree, which is happening for us, and we'll feel, in this next few days big time, but it definitely has a lot of the real inner work of the transformation going to show up with this 29-degree opposition to Pluto. So now we're really in that aspect to Pluto in the mundane. And of course, however it hits your chart too, it could affect you in different ways. So we're going to have to spend some time going within. We're going to have to spend some time really looking at where our death and rebirth of the parts of ourselves that and dig deep beyond the surface, go into that underground, right? Where are into the underworld are you going to transform yourself and empower yourself, and to do that thing that brings you passion and joy, as well as, find that place where you're going to inner mother. Where can you talk to yourself? You can do dialogue. You can do 2 different pens. You can talk to your inner child self from your inner mother self, and bring in that, where do you feel safe and where do you not feel safe, and who's your people and who aren't your people, who are, where's your security at, and where can you protect yourself, and bring in your own sense of self-protection instead of always looking outside of yourself, because we can do a lot of work of our own healing work within once we start to really dig into what it is that might be triggering us, that maybe kind of happened from before, that we just held on to in our nervous system from before. So yeah, really look at those houses, the Cancerian house and that opposing Pluto Capricorn house of your chart, and have a look at what feels like home and family, and what's bringing up the emotions, and where's your safety and love and freedom and fulfillment and the nurturing parts of you, and how can you also connect to that higher power, connect to the divine source as you find yourself in trine here to Neptune. That's our outerworldly, right? The wisdom of what's more, the bigger picture of our spiritual oneness, and where we are all interconnected, because we are. For some who aren't just learning about that, it when you start to call in the divine source for that protection, and you start to recognize signs and symbols and synchronicities, you start to really know just how much you are connected to that divine source energy, and how much you have there for support when you need it. It's not all up to you. That's the wonderful thing about it. And then on top of it, we had that nice trine to Neptune, but we also have this sextile. So 24 degrees here, 22 degrees of Uranus, which is the change maker, the shaker upper. It's the sudden shocking things that you don't know. And we have this, of course, in the house of finances, and that's a really nice flowing energy. That's not the tension energy of an opposition, the red lines, or a square of the 90-degree angles. This is a nice, easy energy. However, we're working with a very, sudden change maker that's unpredictable of Uranus, right? It can be a huge breakthrough, though, for you. It can be something that is unconventional, that comes out of nowhere, that's different than anything that you ever thought of, right? It can be a sudden sort of illumination of like, oh, I can do that this way, and I can, and if you get an impulse to do that, then absolutely, that's something you want to do, right? Of whatever was holding you back from the past, because whatever you want to do is you want to move into this, clean up all the old ways of doing things and look at the innovative technology even, or unique or out of the box ways of doing things of that Aquarian energy as this, Pluto transformation happens. And Uranus is connected to this Aquarian energy, right? Of doing things in a very different, unconventional way. And we're going to see this happen in our world too, right? So we're going to see some kind of top-down structures and the power over, and governments and patriarchal ways kind of get shook up. We're going to see a lot of things come to the surface that have been going on for a long time, that people are being like, wow, that's what's been, running and driving all these things we thought were our main systems and structure there to help and protect us. So, where can you build the grassroots up and help your little own areas be better as a community and a society, and help each other, right, in your own individual and unique way, and be better for the collective in general, because that's that Aquarian energy. Be your individual self in the best way you can for humanity. And also, then I won't get into this too much here. I'll have to do another video, or we'll look at how I'm going to approach that. But the nodes of fate, so all our fated events have just been through this house of Taurus and Scorpio. And so this node is at 0 degrees. It's going to be shifting because they go backwards, they go in reverse, or what appears to be in retrograde motion. So they don't move in the same motion as the planets do in general when they're forward motion. They move in the opposite direction. So it'll now move into 29 degrees of Aries, and the south node will move into that 29 degrees of Libra. So those houses in your chart will really be the next 18 months getting the north node, kind of that where you're moving and shifting into what's a little bit unfamiliar area, and the Aries is that individual self. So we're all going to kind of want to do that, what kind of works for us more individually, and this is about the other, and the balance and harmony of others. And so where is it that, not saying you want to not help your people, because it's not about that. It's just about, looking within, looking at you yourself individually. What can you bring to the table that's going to bring you more joy in your life too? So that also that north node, was in the house of finances and all that sort of the nature and all the earthly things of Taurus, and now is going to move into that more fiery individual energy of Aries. So that will shift things too, but we'll get into that later. So yeah, if you are interested in looking at your astrology chart, or moving through some of the exercises to help you from an emotional perspective to bring in empowerment, which is that Pluto energy. Where's your, how can you empower yourself to be the best version of you? Feel free to reach out and email me at dianacanbefreed@gmail.com. And again, if you want to make a comment below, starting with I'm grateful for, and subscribe and like the video, you can be put into the draw. And every 44 comments, I'll do a draw for a 40-minute reading. And yeah, even if you want to do, send me an email just with a question. I'll do that for a really, fair price. I think with all the energies right now, I really want to help as many people as I can. So, just a one question read, or, depending on the subject, we can look at that. You don't have to pay the full 88 for 40-minute. We can just do it in portions, right? So if you go on my website, you'll see some pricing there. But if you just want to send me an email, and we can work something out, maybe be a much less price for just a quick little email question. And my email answers aren't quick, trust me. So, but we could look at your chart, and you'll look at 1 or 2 or 3 questions that you have about your own chart and what's going on there. So I look forward to connecting with you all, and we're going to talk some more about what's coming up. We have, oh boy, we have the Leo retrograde, 40 days of the Leo Venus retrograde happening, and we have the nodes shifting, and so we have some really major things happening here in July, and then going into the fall, that you may feel in regards to a whole shift of energy, and emotions will be involved for sure. That Leo energy is love, of course, and how we value ourselves. So we'll be feeling that one, because it's about self-worth as well, and self-value and self-respect, as well as our financial resources and all of those things. And just as a little cautionary, retrograde Venus is doing things that might be a real drastic change in your beauty or aesthetics or wardrobe or anything. Might not be advised either. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going through those things with you. I'll try to post more videos now that I kind of had to work through my own full moon energies. Going into this new moon, I'll sit in the intention and energy of that, and do your 10, at least, 10 seeds of intention of what's going to make you feel most at home, emotionally fulfilled, and empowered. Okay, bye for now, everyone. Have a super day, and it was nice to connect with you on this beautiful sunny day here. I will be chatting with you soon. Take care. Bye for now.